All right, let's talk about an absolute icon, a car that's more than just metal, rubber, and glass. It's a legend. We're diving deep into the Nissan Skyline GTR, the R34, a car affectionately known as Godzilla. We're going to break down its evolution from an already amazing machine into, well, one of the most legendary cars ever built. Let's get into it.
So right off the bat, let's talk about power. Officially, Japan said the R34 made 276 horsepower. Now this was because of a gentleman's agreement between Japanese car makers to kind of cap the horsepower wars, but let's be real. Straight off the factory line, these things were already pushing a much healthier 330 horsepower. And believe me, that was just the warm-up act.
So, what's the secret sauce? What makes every single R34 a legend, right from the base model up? Well, it all boils down to its core DNA, this holy trinity of engineering that was baked into every single car that rolled off the line. And here it is. First, the heart and soul of Godzilla, the RB26 DETT engine, a 2.6-liter twin-turbocharged straight-six that is famous for its bulletproof nature, and of course, those gorgeous red valve covers. All that power was channeled through a super tough 6-speed GetTrag manual. No slushy automatics here, thank you very much. And then it was all managed by one of the smartest drivetrains of the era.
This is where the magic really happens, the Atessa ETS system. Now, this is not your average all-wheel drive. Most of the time, the R34 is a rear-wheel drive car, which gives it that classic fun sports car feel. But the split second it senses a loss of grip, bam, it could send up to half the engine's power to the front wheels. It's this incredible, intelligent system that gave the GTR its unbelievable ability to just grip and go, especially when powering out of a corner.
Okay, so the standard GTR is already a monster. Where do you even go from there? How do you make it better? Well, Nissan's answer was basically to take that masterpiece and start sharpening the blade. And that's where the V-Spec, which stands for Victory Specification, comes in.
Let's look at the upgrades. The drivetrain gets a boost to Atessa ETS Pro, which adds an active limited-slip differential in the back. What that means is, it stops one wheel from just spinning uselessly and makes sure all that power is getting to the ground. The suspension was firmed up for better handling. And see that rear diffuser? That's not just for looks. It's made of carbon fiber, and it actually manages the air flowing under the car, sucking it down to the road at high speeds.
And of course, Nissan couldn't just leave it at that, right? So they gave us the V-Spec 2. The biggest tell is that beautiful carbon fiber hood, which is way lighter than the standard one. And that little vent? That's a NACA duct, a design straight out of aerospace. And its whole job is to funnel cool air right into the engine bay to keep everything running happy. The suspension? Yeah, they made that even stiffer.
But you know, not everyone wants a car that's gonna rattle their fillings out on the way to the grocery store. What if you wanted all that GTR performance but with a bit more comfort? Well, Nissan thought of that too. Enter the M-Spec. It took all the good stuff but used these special ripple control dampers to smooth out the ride, making it a much more civilized beast on public roads.
All right, we've talked comfort. Now let's throw all of that out the window and talk about pure, raw, unapologetic track performance. This is where we meet the most hardcore versions of the R34, the N1 and the Norm models. These cars had one job and one job only: go as fast as humanly possible. The N1 was basically a race car with license plates. Barely. Nissan built it so they could legally take it racing. And to make it a race car, you have to get rid of weight. Everything that didn't make it faster was ripped out. Air conditioning? Gone. Audio system? You don't need it. Rear wiper? Adds weight. Out of here. The goal was ruthless. Maximum weight reduction.
And then you have the Nur models. And that name, it's not just a fancy label. It's a tribute to the Nürburgring in Germany, one of the longest, most dangerous, and most demanding racetracks on the entire planet. If you name a car after that place, you're making a very bold statement about what it can do.
So what made the Nur so special? It was basically a V-Spec I or an M-Spec that got the full-blown N1 race engine dropped into it. You can spot one right away if you pop the hood. Those iconic red valve covers? Nope, they're gold. But the real upgrades were inside. The turbos used steel blades instead of ceramic so they could handle way more boost, and they were bigger. Even the speedometer was swapped out for one that went all the way up to 300 kilometers per hour. We've seen the base model, the sharper V-Specs, the hardcore track specials. But what happens when the car is out of production and Nissan's racing division, Nismo, decides to build the ultimate R34 with basically a blank check? Well, you get the final boss. You get the Z-Tune.
Just let that number sink in. 19. That's it. 19 cars in the entire world. And get this, Nismo didn't build them new. They went out and bought used, low-mileage V-Specs, stripped them down to the bare metal, and then completely re-engineered and hand-built every single one. It is, without a doubt, one of the rarest cars on the planet. And the power? Oh, the power. Remember that 330 horsepower we started with? Yeah, forget that. Nismo bored out the engine, rebuilt it with race-spec parts, and unleashed this thing with a jaw-dropping 500 brake horsepower. This wasn't a sports car anymore. It was a full-blown supercar killer.
And that kind of power translates into pure blistering speed. We're talking over 200 miles per hour. This wasn't just nipping at the heels of supercars, it was a supercar, a machine that absolutely shattered what people thought was possible with this platform. So how on earth did they do it? Well, the recipe for the Z-Tune is just wild. The engine was stroked out to 2.8 liters. They reinforced the entire body with carbon fiber to make it stiffer. The bodywork, like those vented fenders and that incredible hood, were straight off their GT500 race cars. And the result of all that? 0 to 62 in a neck-snapping 3.8 seconds.
So when you look at the whole journey, from this cleverly underrated street car, through all these sharper and more focused versions, all the way to the money-no-object Z-Tune, the R34 story is just this relentless quest for perfection. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? Was this the absolute peak of analog driving performance, the last of the great old-school legends? Or is it just setting the stage for the next generation? What a machine. Thanks for geeking out with me on this one.